Good evening, YouTube. Um, this video is about why I think Jody WIlson-Raybould is becoming a legend. She comes from what I would argue is humble means. Um, I know that she's highly educated and she was highly motivated to get to the position that she was. Um, Let me just say this, that she is a person of great integrity. Um, Her being an Indigenous woman, to me, that is just part of her great character and what has helped to shape her. But in terms of somebody who is a great moral Canadian, somebody to be respected and to be admired, this woman is that person, a great Canadian, because she was unwilling to break the law and she lived to the letter of the law. When I look at the way she handled the SNC case, I can't help but admire her courage, because when you think about the position that she was in, just think you want to say every day, but I cannot be sure if it was every day, but say of the times that she kept being harangued by the PMO's office and the clerk of the Privy Council and others that Trudeau sent to correspond with her people and with her directly. Um, you know, the way that she handled herself under that tremendous pressure was deeply admirable. And in the end, she held her ground and she was able to definitely maintain her position, her integrity as the Attorney General, and she deserves respect for that. And the way that Trudeau handled her losing her position as Attorney General, it was so obvious that he appointed another Attorney General to take her place to be more inclined to further his interest with SNC. And it's a clear public betrayal of her. So I just like to bring to the attention of anyone who watches this video that, when you look at her interview in front of the committee, where she speaks for the first time since the SNC scandal broke, and she speaks to the committee, and she gives what is a very, very meticulously put together not story, but account of things that happened. And you can see it's meticulously done because her responses, I believe that her and her lawyers went over it with a fine tooth comb and made sure that they were not breaching anything in terms of cabinet confidence, or because of course that at the time she explained it herself that the Prime Minister is actually a client of hers, so it's like attorney-client privilege. She's not allowed to speak, and she made that very clear in her record, that there's things that she is prevented from saying due to cabinet confidence, and so I find this to be an extreme tragedy and a display of the lack of integrity of our Prime Minister of Canada, because she's a success story, but more importantly, she was unwilling to bend for the Prime Minister of Canada, and so few people can can say that. Not for the sake of arrogance, but she was unwilling to break the law when he was. And people under his control, under his purview, that were trying to force her for a deferred prosecution agreement for SNC. And she was very, very firm. She made that clear in her report and in action, mind you, that that there was no way that she would grant a deferred prosecution agreement to SNC, and no amount of bartering or meetings or innuendo or whatever you want to call it from the PMO's office is going to change her mind, and she made that very clear. And when you look at that, this person is a legend. And I say that because she displays the kind of toughness, the mental toughness, the intelligence, the fortitude, and the integrity of a great Canadian. And to me, I wish her well. And she's running as an independent. I don't think she's going to be in the Liberal camp any longer, as long as he's Prime Minister. And I wish more Liberals would follow suit and would look at her with the proper, look at that case carefully, and you'll see that this is something that the government should fall over. Trudeau himself, if he had any integrity as a person, should resign immediately and try to save the party, because that's the responsible thing to do. He keeps talking about, I take full responsibility. How is he taking responsibility for his actions? He's not. He's saying it, but the words are empty, just like every promise that he's made. So if he really took responsibility, there'd be consequences for that action, and that action should be punished by his government being, that he himself would no longer be Prime Minister. But I just wanted to express my admiration for her. I can go into more detail about the SNC case and concisely why she was able to record a conversation with either the clerk of the Privy Council or some other, in which they were trying to influence her in that moment, and she managed to capture it on tape, or on voice recording, or somehow, and she was able to bring that evidence forward. And it was very incriminating evidence, and I have a feeling that she set up her trap nicely, because she knew that they would do it again. And if she didn't have some kind of evidence to bring forward, then nobody would believe her, because the amount of influence that's going on in that party for judicial sway is incredible. It's a powerful force. So I want to show my respect to Jody WIlson-Raybould, and I'm happy and glad and proud that she took her stance. And she didn't waver, even though it cost her job, her dream job, which I'm sure she treated with the utmost respect and responsibility for that position. So I thank you for your time and for your attention. And so good night.